Hey guys, welcome back to Nat One Videos. Today I am with Matt in London at the Dragon Workshop. Some of you guys might know Matt from Painting Phase video where his work was displayed. You sent in one of your helmets to...
Yeah, it was an Iron Warriors helmet. Space Marine Iron Warriors helmet.
Okay, and you may have also noticed him on Instagram from War Daddy Miniatures, which is where I noticed your work. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, whoa, that's so cool. And then I discovered that you're in London.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup!
So we're going to take a look around Matt's workshop today. And yeah, first of all though, like, how did you get into the building of this armor? What happened with that?
I've always been into building stuff, making things when I was a kid. When the Lord of the Rings movies came out, I made cardboard armor as soon as I'd seen the armor on screen. And I just progressed I found foam, EVA foam. And then I progressed to doing that, and then found Etsy and realised that I could make it into a business, and this is where this has all grown out of, basically.
So we're currently in a shed out the back of the garden. How long has it taken you to build it to where it's at now, where you've got all of the tools that you need? It wasn't like this before, was it?
No, it was a smaller shed, about half the size, and then we had a new shed built, and I decked it all out myself with a partition wall and all the tools and everything. So it's probably been, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago this was built. So it's been a kind of a bit of a work in progress to make all of the tools fit where they need to fit, and everything works for me.
So what was the first piece that you made? Did you make it here in the workshop, or?
It wasn't really in the workshop. Before I had the workshop, it was a clone trooper, cardboard clone trooper. So I found the template online, and they made it out of cardboard to a bit of filler and stuff, and I thought it looked really cool. And then it kind of grew from there really into more sophisticated materials that I have now.
So basically, you made one thing, and then people saw it somewhere, and were like, "Can you make one for me?" And it kind of snowballed from there, or did you go like, "Oh, I can make this, so I'm just going to start a business"?
I think I started in Instagram maybe first, and I had a couple of friends who wanted mostly woodwork stuff. It wasn't even really to do with the prop stuff. I made that, and I realised that, I really like making stuff for people, and I thought maybe I could turn it into a sideline business. And then I discovered the EVA foam, like I said, and then it kind of went from there. And I saw on YouTube was the great place to learn how to do all the different techniques you need and all the different finishes and materials and all that sort of stuff. So that was kind of my breeding ground, was YouTube. That showed me how to do all of this, basically.
So maybe we should talk a little bit about the process. Maybe we take a look at one or two of the pieces that you've made, and you can tell us how you've put it together.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. This is one of the ones that is probably most iconic. It's the Berserker who runs it.
Berserker helmet, yeah.
So with this, you're making out of EVA foam, is that right?
Yes, so it's all made out of this stuff. So if we look on the inside, it's the kind of raw foam on the inside. And then it is textured with PVA glue and sand, so that you get that kind of rough forged texture.
Yep.
And then you spray it with a rubber coat, which kind of seals it, so it's more waterproof. Gives it a better paintable surface. And then you can just hit it with whatever sprays. So this is gunmetal and a bit of weathering, and then my hand on the front.
Yep. And with the foam, you're getting it to bend nicely into that shape.
Yes. So that is done with a heat gun, which is just down there.
Yeah.
So you heat the foam up, and then it becomes more malleable, and you
can bend it.
You can bend it around a form,
and it doesn't spring back.
It keeps it rough shape, yeah. And then as it cools, it kind of keeps its shape a bit more. It kind of gives it some sort of muscle memory, so it knows roughly where it needs to be.
Yeah. And it's obviously, well, one of the coolest helmets in the Lord of the Rings as far as I'm concerned. This is one where you get a nice close up and it's like so this elvish helmet that you have behind you, that is
this is for high elf, so like the Rivendell elves that you see at the start of the movie fighting Sauron.
So the sharpness of the edge of that's done. How are you getting that? Are you cutting it first and then?
Yeah, so I cut this on my bandsaw. Well, first I sandwich this. So this is two pieces of foam sandwiched with a piece of plastic in the middle to give it the rigidity, and then you cut it on the bandsaw to get the rough shape, and then I take my Dremel multi-tool and I sand and grind it out until I get this the shape I require, basically. Because this stuff is a higher density foam than this stuff. You can see the slight color variation. So this is a lot easier to sand because it's a sort of denser foam than this one. This is the more of the base helmet kind of foam that I use.
So for this next part, I might actually have to put it on. These are Witch King, right?
Yes, yeah, Ring Wraith Witch King.
And have you done the full set of armor for the Witch King, or is it just the gauntlets?
I've done the helmet for the Witch King, and I've done the legs. I don't believe there's much armor for the torso because it's generally just the black cloak.
Yeah, exactly. So you have a big black coat, you've got some armor sticking out from underneath.
Yeah.
This is seriously cool, man. The articulation in that.
Yeah.
Where did you get the idea for making this set? Was it just straight from the movies, or did something inspire the idea to make
So
these?
I saw this on a channel called Tested. So Adam Savage from Tested had his friend Bill Duran from Punished Props came on, and they made this template. They made it out of EVA foam, so thin EVA foam, but I thought it might be better in Warbler.
So this, obviously this is a little bit harder than EVA foam.
Yeah.
Actually feels a bit more like...
Yeah, so Warbler is like a thermoplastic that has some of the similar properties to EVA foam. But so you heat it up and it becomes floppy and you can mold it, and as it dries, or as it cools rather, it becomes harder again and it stays in its shape. But it's not as much kind of process of sealing and painting and stuff. So this is basically just the spray color over the top of the plastic. There's no like rubber coating and stuff that's needed for the foam.
So was it black Warbler?
Yes, it was black.
And then just basically dry brushed and stuff? Or?
Yeah, so you spray gunmetal first, or whatever colour you want, and then you just dry brush over the silver so it gives it a bit of a dinked and
tarnished
look. Yeah.
Cool. Alright, so we obviously have lots of cool Lord of the Rings style stuff, but I've also noticed that you've got some Warhammer 40k, some of these helmets and whatnot, which some of you guys might be interested in. Have you got any cool weaponry?
Well, as soon as you mention it, get this down here.
What? Okay. What the heck? Right, I wasn't expecting that. We might have to go into the garden to have a little play around with this.
Yeah.
So how on earth did you make this, mate?
So this is mostly EVA foam as well, on the outside, and then on the inside, so the teeth are 3D printed, and then the inside's two motors, one at either end, and then a battery pack here, and then a wooden kind of core, so that's the strength of it. So this is all wood. This is turned out of wood on a lathe as well, and then this is like latticed kind of faux leather, and then painted basically.
Oh my goodness. That is so cool. So basically I've got a little bit of workshop envy right now. My dream is to have a workshop in my back garden like this with all the cool tools. You've got loads of amazing tools here for working with the foam. What would you say is the most used tool in your workshop, would you say?
It's probably the Dremel. This is like the absolute workhorse. So it does the cutting, it does the sanding. So the the Elven helmet you'll see that's been sanded has been sanded by that. Yeah. So that does all, and it does all the etching and the detailing and stuff.
So that's your most used tool. Is your favorite tool, would you say?
That, and then like this kind of big boy here is my bandsaw.
Yeah.
Which
I really want a bandsaw.
Yeah, it's a real workhorse. I mean, it does wood, it does foam. It cuts through foam like butter. Obviously, it's a big industrial machine.
So obviously you use all of these bigger tools, but you frequently use all of the small tools as well. You've got
Yeah. So for the most part, most of my day is knives and glue and scissors, all the kind of craft gear. That's like, I'd say 70-80% of my day, and then I do that for the rest of it, and then maybe a little bit of that and some of the sander.
And speaking of glues, are you using contact cement?
Yes, yeah.
Because I've seen that on...
So sometimes I use, when I first started I used glue gun, but then that's, for certain joints it kind of splurges out and gets very messy and everything. So contact adhesive is the best for gluing stuff together. And then glue gun you can just glue details on afterwards, or super glue I use as well quite a lot for sort of precision gluing. And then the Mod Podge often goes on at the end as the first layer, because then that glues down all the edges and just seals it. You want to kind of cover over the pores of the foam to get it as smooth as possible, really, to have a nice painting surface.
Okay, that was awesome. I've had so much fun today, man. Thank you so much for letting me come and check out your workshop.
No problem.
We've got some really cool videos coming up here at the Dragon Workshop. Matt and I, because we live in the same city, mutual interests. We're going to be doing some content together. So that's already begun, and some of the Patreon members will have seen some of what's coming up. Last thing that we need to do is, Matt, where can we find you on the internet?
So I am on Instagram at the Dragon Workshop, or the.dragon.workshop. I'm on my Etsy, which is the Dragon Workshop on Etsy, and I am on my own website, which is thedragonworkshop.com.
And I'm going to leave links for all of those in the description below this video. Go and check out his stuff. This is all surprisingly affordable, so who doesn't want an Urkai helmet or Warhammer 40k helmet? Go and check it out, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.